Hey, what is going on, Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day. Now, today's video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 final hopes I personally have for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. So basically, the top 10 things I want to see in the final game. Now, I've made a few videos like this before, but some of these things that I did want before have actually been included, such as better customization and many other features. Like, there's so many in Pokemon Sun and Moon. It looks like one of the best Pokemon games we're ever gonna have. But there are still things that we haven't really seen, and there's stuff I want to be included in the game. So as I said, these are the top 10 things I personally want, not you, I want in the games. If you agree or disagree with any of my points in this video, let me know in the comments below. But question of the day to you guys, what stuff do you want added in Pokemon Sun and Moon that we haven't seen yet already, or there's no evidence for so far? Let me know in the comment section below. And without further ado, let's start off with number 10. So coming in at number 10, I've chosen Alonein Forms to be given to other Pokemon from other regions. And what I mean by that, every single Alolan form we've seen so far is from the Kanto region, which isn't too surprising since they always seem to give that region the special treatment. Same with Megas, same with pretty much everything. Pokemon Go obviously only has Gen 1 Pokemon so far, but I'd like to see them actually give Alolan Forms or Alolan variants, whatever you want to call them, to other generations, such as Generation 2, which is Johto, and onwards. So hopefully we will see that for other Pokemon. Personally, I'd really like to see an Alolan Flygon. That guy never got a Mega, really should have. And I know there's way more Pokemon, maybe like an Alolan Shiftry, maybe an Alolan Corsola or Alolan Quillfish. I know those Pokemon are kind of quite forgettable, but they would work well in a Hawaiian kind of environment. So I'd like to see Pokemon like that. But so far, it just seems like it's going to be Kanto Pokemon. But obviously, they've not shown everything, so there is a bit of hope that we could see some Pokemon that aren't from Kanto getting Alolan Forms. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see. I'd still be happy with obviously the Alolan Forms just being Kanto. That's why it's kind of higher up on this list. But I'd still like to see more generations getting the Alolan variant treatment. So that's why this is at number 10 on this list. So taking the number 9 spot, I've chosen for Ultra Beasts to not be catchable in the game. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I really can't stand these. They don't look great as designs. I know they're supposed to represent characters in the game story, but I just don't like them. And obviously, they're kind of supposed to be like a mix between a Pokemon and a human. If they're catchable in the game, or if they class as a legendary, I'm not going to be happy because the designs are pretty much terrible. Just in my opinion, I just don't like them. So if they're part of the main story and they're not catchable, I'm fine with that. They're still a bit weird, but I'm fine with that. But if you can catch these in the game, I am not going to like that. I just don't like the looks of them. There's nothing to them. You've got like a big red lobster, some weird jellyfish thing, and some really ugly Pokemon, even though it's called Ultra Beast Beauty. I think it's the worst of the lot. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think of these Ultra Beasts. If they are catchable, would you ever use them? I just don't think I would. I'd probably just release them. I really don't like them. That's how much I dislike them. But as I said, that's just my opinion. I'm not a big fan of them, but maybe you guys might like them. Let me know in the comments below. And anyway, let's move on to number 8. So next up at number 8, I have chosen rematching trial captains. So if you don't know what trial captains are, basically they're the new gym leaders in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Basically, this is the first Pokemon game with no gyms at all, and it's going to be kind of different challenges across all the 4 islands, and it seems really cool. Now, most likely this is going to be a one-off thing. This is only going to happen once in Pokemon, similar to the Orange Islands actually, if you've ever seen that anime arc, which is just after the Indigo League. Basically, Ash goes to the Orange Islands, and instead of gyms, they're not really gym battles, but you do challenges instead. And since I feel like this is going to be the only Pokemon game to do this, I feel like you might as well be able to rematch these guys, because obviously it's going to only happen once. I don't think, you know, trial captains are going to be in the next game at all. I think gyms will probably come back. So if it's going to be a one-time thing, let us rematch them, please, because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, good XP. And I always love the games when you can rematch the gym leaders, such as Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Pokemon Emerald. It's just a little thing, but it makes the world of difference. It shows that, you know, these guys actually know we really like battling gym leaders, and it gives us good XP, and it's just good fun to battle them again, see how their team improves and stuff. So will it happen? I really don't think so, just because it hasn't happened recently. But let's hope it does happen. You can actually FaceTime people in this game. Well, it seems like FaceTime. So you can see it with Professor Kooky, and he shows his Rockruff. But I feel like you might be able to do that maybe with trial captains. That might be a way to how to organise the rematch. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But I think that would work really well. So hopefully you can rematch trial captains. If not, it's not the end of the world, but it's something I'd really like to see. So that's why I've chosen it at number 8. Now next up at number 7, I'm going to be talking about rebalancing the battle system. Now I know a few of you guys might be thinking, it's okay, it's not too bad, you know. I mean, fair enough, it could be worse, but I think Mega Evolutions, they kind of break it a bit. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who just preferred it when Pokemon was 6 Pokemon versus 6 Pokemon. You could hold items and that was it. You could just go into a battle and the best team wins. Now the thing with Mega Evolutions is that they gave them to Pokemon that didn't even need them, such as Garchomp and Salamence, and made them even stronger. And let's be honest, Mega Rayquaza, I think it's got the highest stats in the game. It's just crazy. That would just destroy anyone. So I do feel like Megas did break the game a bit, break the system as well, such as Mega Kangaskhan can hit twice in one turn. I think that was a bit broken because that could sweep very, very easily. It took the fun out of battling in a way. And don't get me wrong, I do like Megas, but they're just, I don't know, I think they were a bit too much. Now, interestingly, they've not shown any Megas at all with their merchandise, their marketing, or any gameplay so far. Whether they're going to be in the game or not, I don't know. But for example, if they are in the game, I think Z-moves would be a great way to counter them. So for example, let's just say Megas are in the game. We don't know that for sure, but let's just say they are. So what I would like to see personally is that Z-moves do more damage on Mega Evolved Pokemon than normal Pokemon. That way you can kind of balance and counteract the Mega Evolution. Z-moves are a one-time use in a battle, kind of similar to Mega Evolutions, but they do kind of stay across the whole battle when you do use them. But I do think Z-moves doing more damage on a Mega Evolved Pokemon would work. It would balance it out. We still don't know all the details on Z-moves. We don't know how much damage they do. Maybe there's a set amount for all of them. And I can imagine a lot of you guys watching this battle a lot on X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So I want you guys to tell me in the comments, are Mega Evolved Pokemon overpowered? Do you think Z-moves should have a bonus effect against these Pokemon? For example, maybe just a bit more damage. I'm not saying like super effective terms, but just a bit more damage against them, so you're more likely to take them out. Let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, that's just my opinion on the battling system. It's still good fun, but I just think it needs a few tweaking to make it a bit more fairer for each player. But that's just my opinion, guys. Now coming in at number 6 is something that I've been wanting since X and Y first came out when I saw online battles, and this is to be able to change battle backgrounds. So as you know, if you play online battles, you'll just stick to like the online kind of battle room. It doesn't look great, the background is okay, it's not too bad, but you get really bored of it very quickly if you battle a lot, and a lot of people do battle a lot on X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now at the start of a game you can change the music basically at the bottom of the touch screen. I think you can just select which track you want to play. So I don't see why you can't select which background you want as well. So for example, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire you get certain backgrounds for part of the story, such as Team Magma battles, and you barely see them again at all. In fact, you might not even see them again. So it would make sense to use those backgrounds that you barely get to see anymore in online battles. It would change it, it would make it look fresh. I don't know, there's so many good backgrounds in Sun and Moon to use. Hopefully we'll see some of them in the online battling. At the end of the day, if there's one background, it's not too much of a problem, but it would be really, really nice to see some more backgrounds on online battling. So coming in at number 5 is a feature we haven't had in Pokemon for over 5 years, and this is roaming legendaries. So if you didn't know, Pokemon X and Y had no roaming legendaries. In fact, the legendaries overall in X and Y were very disappointing in my opinion, and we haven't had roaming legendaries since Pokemon Black and White, which came out in 2010 in Japan and 2011 in the West. So it's almost been 6 years counting the Japanese release. So it is a bit crazy that we've not had roaming legendaries since then. We might get roaming legendaries with Tapu Koko and the other masked Pokemon, if there are any other masked Pokemon, but rumours are there are going to be more. So I think we've got a good chance of having roaming legendaries. It would kind of make sense to go island hopping looking for these legendaries. So I'd definitely be up for roaming legendaries. I know a few people don't like roaming legendaries because it's quite frustrating to catch them, and I do know that, believe me, they are. But it does give you a bit of a challenge, and I think it's something fun to do in the after story. And also, I would like to see more legendaries in general than X and Y. I think they only had 6 if you include Diancie, Hoopa and Volcanion. So hopefully we'll get more in Sun and Moon. That's something to look forward to. But yeah, roaming legendaries at number 5 on this list. Please make this happen, Game Freak. Now the next thing I want in Pokemon Sun and Moon is a more complex story. And when I talk about story, I mainly mean the story between the bad guys and the protagonist himself. Team Flare in X and Y were incredibly disappointing. I think they were the worst bad guys we've ever had. As we know, Generation 5, which is Black and White, had the best storyline out of all the games. And Generation 6, the follow-up to that, was just very disappointing. It was what? Team Flare, and their main aim was to make the world beautiful and make money by doing so. that's just a really terrible aim. I'm sure that if Game Freak look back at this game and look at the story, they'd be like, yeah, we could have probably done a bit better. So far, Sun and Moon looks like it's definitely more complex. We've got the Ultra Beast, we've got Team Skull. Don't know their motives yet, so they could be worse than Team Flare, but I have high hopes for them at the moment. So it could definitely have a more complex story than X and Y. I'm just hoping it goes a bit darker than the last couple of games. I think like that's what Pokemon really needs. A lot of its fan base is older teenagers to adults, as we've seen with Pokemon Go. So for those who do have a 3DS, would be really, really cool to see a bit of a darker story. Not too dark, but just a bit of a darker story than X and Y. So hopefully we'll get a more complex and darker story for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. So coming in at number 3, I've chosen a better rival, because from Generation 3 onwards, they've just been more like friends. I don't think they were too bad in Generation 3 and 4. Generation 6 was not good at all. It was just basically friends. There was no competitivity in there at all. The rivals in Generation 1 and 2 were very, very good. You wanted to beat them because 1, you didn't agree with some of their methods, and 2, they just weren't great people to begin with. So Generation 3 was okay. You had Brendan and May, and they were a bit competitive, but they just weren't anything special. Same with Generation 4. Generation 5 and 6 though were the worst easily. They were just like friends. So hopefully that will be fixed in this game. I really want a proper rival, but at the moment we see Howl, who seems to be a rival, seems to be just again like a friend. I'm hoping there's a bit of a twist, maybe he kind of changes, but I really don't think so. We haven't had a proper rival since Generation 1 and 2, so it wouldn't surprise me if we don't get a proper one again, but hopefully the rival system in this game is a bit better. I don't have high hopes for this, but hopefully Howl will go really dark and emo and edgelord and we'll have a better rival, or it's just going to be another friendship thing, which is a bit disappointing, but what can we do? Now coming in at the number 2 spot is something that Pokemon games have really struggled with over the years, and this is a better or longer after story. So X and Y, as you guys know, there was basically nothing to it. All you could do was really do the looker missions, and that was it pretty much. And then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire was better. You had quite a few legendaries to go catch, but again, if you've already caught those legendaries in past games, it wasn't that much fun. It was good for shiny hunting definitely, but I couldn't really get into that too much. So I do want a better and longer after story, and obviously there was a Delta episode in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire which did actually help it quite a lot. It added like an hour or two to the game, which was quite nice. So maybe they do a second kind of story, would be really, really cool. Maybe you think the story is over and then there's something new entirely. It could also work like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explores of Time, Darkness and Sky. In that game you have a main story, and it takes a while to beat it, and it's really good fun. And once you beat it, you actually get another story, and that is arguably as good as the first one. So hopefully they will add another story into this game for a longer after story. That's the only way I can see this making sense. They could obviously add legendaries to catch, which wouldn't be too bad, and they could do looker missions. But what I thought would be cool, instead of looker, you have something that's inspired by Hawaii Five-0, which is a very famous TV show which is obviously set in Hawaii. Instead of looker, you have a task force of selected trainers who give you tasks to obviously maybe go after Team Skull after they've disbanded or something. Maybe that will happen, but all I want at the end of the day is a longer after story than X and Y, and a better one than Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now coming in at my number 1 spot, you might have heard me talk about this in many Sun and Moon videos before, but I really, really want this game to be more difficult than X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I beat that game in 6 hours. It wasn't that fun compared to the original. I knew the original was quite difficult, this one wasn't. And X and Y, I put a lot of good hours into that game. I enjoyed it, but it was too easy to beat the main story. Still a lot of fun though. Now I've recently been playing Pokemon Platinum in my own time, and it's crazy how difficult that game is compared to the new ones. I've been struggling. The gym leaders are quite tough. They actually have really high level Pokemon compared to what your Pokemon are, and it's really good fun to beat a gym leader who pushes you to your limits. It feels like you earn your victory, and it's more fun in the process, where with X, Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I literally just press A through all the battles. Because even if I didn't have the type advantage, the computer players or the AI was stupid enough not to attack me when I could be knocked out. It just wasn't that good. So hopefully it is more difficult in Sun and Moon. But with the anime looking really kid-friendly, like even more than ever, which is really weird by the way, I'm even more cautious about this being a very kid-friendly Pokemon game. I hope I'm wrong, really hope they've listened to the fans because so many people have complained about this. But there's so many veteran players playing Pokemon now on the 3DS, so it would make sense to obviously cater towards that audience, make it a bit harder. And it's not impossible to beat a Pokemon game. For those who are younger, it will take longer for them to beat the game, but it's something that they'll feel like they've earned a victory rather than being too unfairly hard. I remember beating my first Pokemon game, which was Pokemon Ruby. I thought that was very, very difficult because it was my first Pokemon game. We were all noobs in our first Pokemon game, and I really, really enjoy it. I still remember it vividly when I beat the league for the first time, and that's because I really earned that victory. What's the point when you just kind of breeze through it? But anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is the increased difficulty the most important thing for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, or do you have something else in mind? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video guys, definitely leave a like, really, really appreciated. You guys have been amazing this year. On 90,000 subscribers now, almost at 100,000, so we're almost there guys. If we do hit 100,000, I will definitely have to do a giveaway for you guys, and I've got a few things lined up for you guys for Sun and Moon coming very, very soon for you guys to enter into videos and all sorts. It's going to be awesome, but I would like to reveal that 100k, so let's just push there, let's just get there just before Sun and Moon comes out, and that will be ridiculous. And also guys, if you're new around here, you're not subscribed, and you want to be part of the Twintendo Nation before it hits 100k, definitely hit the subscribe button down below. Really, really appreciate it. But anyway guys, that's it for today's video. Remember to answer the question of the day, what do you want to see added into Sun and Moon the most? And yeah guys, I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace!